Well, happy Easter, everyone. I'm Kyle Bogey. Welcome into the 7 Sports Cave. Busy weekend in Detroit sports, and we dive into all of it. Happy to have Jeff Rieger of 97.1 The Ticket and Jim Costa of ESPN 96.1 in Grand Rapids. Simulcast here in Detroit on 11:30 a.m. WDFN, both in the house. And coming up in a bit, we'll get the guys' thoughts on Steve Yzerman's return to Detroit and take a peek ahead to Thursday's NFL draft. But first, we have to start with the Detroit Pistons. I know, despite the return of Blake Griffin in Game 3, the Pistons sit on the brink of elimination heading into Monday's Game 4 against the Bucks. Griffin led the way for Detroit with 27 points as we wait to see what his availability looks like tomorrow. Dwayne Casey, though, just taking it one game at a time at this point.
You're not going to get those 3 games back, so okay, the numbers are against us in that situation, so let's go step by step. Things we can control first. And get one possession at a time, 1 quarter at a time, and then ultimately 1 game at a time. And if you try to get all those 3 games back in one night, you'll be overwhelmed. So let's go possession by possession.
Outside of the playoff atmosphere at LCA and Griffin's return, one of the bigger stories to come out of Game 3 was the performance of Andre Drummond. The crowd letting Drummond hear it with a smattering of boos following a 1-for-9 start from the field. He finished 2 of 8 at the free throw line as well. Pistons great Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, he was on the call for ESPN's coverage and was critical of Drummond's effort throughout the night, although Blake Griffin did come to Drummond's defense.
You never want to hear that, especially in your home crowd. He's busted his ass and played hard for this franchise for I don't know how many years now, and we wouldn't be where we are without him.
I think for me it was more of I wanted to make the play instead of making the play, and when things like that happen, usually it doesn't go your way. So I just need to continue to play within my game and just try to help out any way I can.
Well, there you go. Andre Drummond, of course, with a less than satisfactory performance in Game 3, that loss for the Pistons. Jeff Rieger, Jim Costa still here with us on the 7 Sports Cave. And Riggs, I know you were in the locker room and actually asked Drummond about the booing at Little Caesars Arena and whether or not he actually felt it. His reaction to it didn't seem to like the question, but I really do think that it kind of illustrated a little bit of a breaking point between fans and Andre Drummond.
Yeah, it was weird because, listen, I'll give the Pistons full credit, right? That place was bumping last night. They loved it. Listen, I must say, the pregame show kind of reminded me of 2004. They got the Flames. I just wanted to see Ben out there. Chauncey was in the building. Mm-hmm. But people were psyched. People were jacked. And it was really weird because it went from everybody so excited to Andre blocked once again, and everybody started booing him. And it almost turned from like this excited fan base to let's just let Andre have it. And you know what? It's sad just because the Pistons told us this is the playoff push, right? This is the time. We want to make the playoffs so bad. And then you see your $25 million man. I don't want to say not showing effort, but at times effort was questioned.
So you don't even have to say
it. Was brutal.
Because you mentioned Chauncey Billups was there doing the game, of course, with ESPN. And Chauncey, yes, on several different occasions, pointing out effort issues with Andre Drummond. And, Jim, effort has been a very consistent topic of discussion with Andre Drummond, regardless of his offensive inefficiencies. At the very least, people want to see a guy out there who really looks like he cares.
Yeah, you could talk about being too jittery on offense, but you still have to play defense. And that's one thing you talk about a packed house. People in Detroit, they care about effort, blue collar. I know I'm talking to a guy with makeup on, but people here care about blue collar. They do.
It's just a little makeup.
And you can pack a place, but if you're not playing hard on both ends, that's inexcusable. You might be 0 for 4 at the plate, but you got to hustle down the first baseline. You still got to play defense. Detroit won't stand for that, and I'm happy the fans booed. Andre needs to hear that that's not good enough.
I think the biggest thing was, and I know effort can kind of get misconstrued. Like if you're not playing well, people are going to be like, well, that's an effort issue. Right. Last night, there certainly were plays where he lagged. He didn't get out on Brook Lopez, quick enough, didn't look like he was trying as hard. His offensive issues, though, those are things that have continued throughout his entire career. And he's improved the free throws. Not last night. He was 2 for 8, so, not a great performance. But for whatever reason, in the paint, around the rim, the little push shots that he loves to do, he just doesn't have that touch. And you start to wonder, as his career is moving forward here, I know he's still in his mid to late 20s, but
25.
Is he ever going to be able to become more of an offensive threat?
I don't think so. I mean, it was evident yesterday. And, the Pistons are exactly what they showed you. They're 41-41. They lose the good teams. They beat bad teams. And Andre Drummond's the same guy, right? I mean, against bad competition, he dominates. Against good competition, he doesn't. You mentioned Brook Lopez. $3 million a year. You taught me that, Kyle. Andre Drummond makes $25 million a year. Here you go. Let me do this real quick.
Oh, boy.
This guy, Ben Wallace, right? This guy, right? Big Ben.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't break his head.
No offensive game. This guy, no offensive game, right? But you know what he gave? He gave effort. Defensive Player of the Year. Look at that face, Andre. He's not happy either. I mean, seriously, what you saw yesterday was a disgrace. It really was. I mean, the Pistons and Tom Gores sitting courtside, he couldn't even throw T-shirts yesterday. He wanted so bad in the fourth quarter when the T-shirt cannon came out, he was like, I'm going to do it.
But you can't. You can't when you're down 20.
We're down 20. Mason is yelling defense down 20. I mean, guys, seriously. You want to be taken seriously, and you should be taken seriously. And the fans showed up, but what you saw from Andre, it was despicable. It really was.
The other thing, I mean, you mentioned the playoff atmosphere. Fans clearly desperate here for winners, for interesting things, for fun and excitement. That was one of the bigger stories. The atmosphere was absolutely phenomenal at Little Caesars Arena. But the other thing was Blake Griffin returning to the lineup. And I'll admit, in the pregame, they had the Till I Collapse, the pregame intro back from 04. Griffin out there, fans going nuts when they showed him up on the screen. People do love Blake Griffin. I thought he played as well as you could possibly expect after being out basically 10 days.
You can't say enough good things about Blake Griffin this year, too, in the way he's evolved and changed his career, right? He's no longer the guy jumping over Kias. He's added a three-point shot. He's a good passer. He stayed healthy for the most part this season. I mean, this at the end, it kind of underscores it. But Blake Griffin has come into his own, and I think that was so evident when you watched him gut it out. It's weird juxtaposition
on the floor,
with Andre and Blake, but Blake was a reason for you to stand and cheer if you were at Little Caesars Arena.
Talk about polar opposites.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Blake is on one leg. He's a great leader. He's a great talker. I mean, he was getting into it a little bit with Drummond, trying to spur him on a little bit. Let's go. He wouldn't trash Andre Drummond in the postgame presser when he was asked about the
And good for him,
booze.
by the way. You shouldn't throw your teammate under the bus.
And I would agree. But Blake Griffin has been outstanding for this team. He's been fabulous. And to watch him yesterday, he was a warrior. He's on one leg, giant knee brace, throws in 27. I mean, that's what, as you mentioned, that's what Detroit wants, blue collar. That guy takes his paycheck seriously. With that being said, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyhow. We told you, Pistons. We told you. We all said, a lot of us, not all of us.
I know, I think we all did. I think I'm with you guys, yeah.
We all said, okay, do you have a tank here? Do we have a little? We don't have a tank. We don't have a tank.
You and the bobbleheads.
I should have come more prepared with props. I'm sorry.
I need something in my hands, I guess. But we all said it. We all said it. Don't make the playoffs. Trade everybody at the deadline. Blow it up. Let's go. We said it, and we weren't trying to be negative because we all want the same thing, good basketball. And this is what happened. The Pistons have lost by a combined 72 points. 72 points in 3 games. We called this.
Is that good?
I don't think so. I did the quick math, guys. You'd be impressed.
Oh, boy.
That is 24 points a game they've lost by.
Did somebody double check that? Do we know that?
Yeah, we need to do
Is
some
that
quick
right?
math here.
Yeah,
I don't
somebody
know.
check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 24 points a game. Point being is they need to blow this thing up. It's not working. It needs to start with Andre Drummond getting traded, but the problem is the owner won't allow that. So it's a mess, unfortunately.
That's the big question this offseason. Will this front office, Ed Stefanski and Malik Rose, actually be able to deal Andre Drummond? And certainly I think the fan base would embrace that move if they were actually allowed to do it. An organization, though, that is doing it the opposite of the Pistons, the Detroit Red Wings. Look, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be a rebuild. You're going to need some patience. But the Wings got a huge jolt of energy as Steve Yzerman is officially the general manager for the Detroit Red Wings. We're going to dive into that. We got a one-on-one between Justin Rose and the captain, Stevie Y. It's going to be weird. General manager of the Detroit Red Wings. We'll be right back.